Hi everyone, it's Sabrina here from sliceoflemon.com. We are talking today about jealousy, and not jealousy between you and your spouse, but jealousies amongst your friends and family once you got married. Basically, we want to know if after you got married, if any of your friends or family started to behave in a way toward you or your spouse that made you feel like maybe they were jealous.
I would say that I've been very lucky with my group of girlfriends, and we haven't had any issues of jealousy or changes in our relationship since I've gotten married. A lot of my girlfriends got married around the same time that I did, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. But I haven't had an instance with my girlfriends where our relationship has drastically changed. Right after we did get married, I did have one of my girlfriends who kept saying to me, "Oh, I want to do this, but I don't know if you can come now that you're married, ... And she said it to me a couple of times, and then finally I stopped her and I just said, just because I'm married doesn't mean that I'm a different person. It doesn't mean that I don't want to spend time with my girlfriends and have girls' night or go to happy hour. I don't want to be one of those women that just sit up underneath my husband the entire time, and I'm sure that he doesn't want that type of wife either. Because I've gotten married doesn't mean that I've changed. I'm still the same person. And I still want to go out with my girlfriends, and I still want to be able to go and visit my friends that live out of state. And because I've gotten married, that doesn't change any of that.
This topic for me is one that is a little bit uncomfortable to talk about, only because I think it's really presumptuous for me or anybody to think that someone is just jealous of you. Do you know what I mean? Like why? I sort of feel like there's no real reason for me to feel like anybody wants to be like me. But having said that, I will say that in my own life, and this is so uncomfortable to even say, but I do think that there have been people in my life that once I got married did separate themselves a little bit from me and my husband, and I think it was because of a word that I wouldn't call jealousy, because that sounds very strong, but something that's a little bit less than jealousy, but it's because of the fact that, like, oh, now you're married, and it was kind of really hurtful and really sad, but I don't think it was their fault. This is my theory. I think that parents are the ones that push their kids to feel these ill feelings towards their peers when they start to become successful. And obviously people define success in very different ways, but generally as a whole, you can say that a person who is married is considered successful, or who has gone to a good school is considered to be successful, that maybe has a good job. So there are a couple of very basic things that I think society views as success, and marriage is one of those things. And I think that this happens in a lot of cultures, and it always happens to women. I don't know why, but it always does, where parents start to compare their daughters to like their friends' daughters, or they start to compare their daughters to their daughters' friends. So, but this sort of pressure is not something that really happens with your peers. It's mostly from an older generation who kind of wants to remind you of how little you've accomplished in life, and it's really hurtful. And I don't think people mean it. They don't do it because they're trying to be hurtful, but sometimes you don't really look a step ahead and think, you know, how are my words going to affect this person? And
ever since high school, because that was the first time I was exposed to many different types of people at the same time, because I went to a Catholic school where there was 30 people in my class, the same pretty much 30 people from kindergarten all the way to 8th grade. So in high school, that was the first time where it was like a different dynamic, and there was such a diverse group of people that I interacted with in different classes. I would have a class with one person, and maybe I wouldn't see them again until the next day, whereas some I'd have like 2 or 3, and you really had to work on building friendships other than the fact that, hey, we're with each other 8 hours a day. So I think with anything, it's ever since high school, that there's this almost cycle of friendship where at the time you guys have a common bond, and if you can't make it deeper, then it kind of cycles through, and maybe after a semester or a class or whatever, it's just kind of fizzles out. Nothing wrong with that, it just is the way it happens. You have a commonality to bring you together, and then eventually it kind of splits apart. Well, as you grow older and you build deeper friendships, there's still the cycle of life with, you know, dating, being engaged, getting married, having babies, and I think with every stage that you go through, there's a shift in the friendships. When you have a deep friendship with people and it's built on more than just something superficial, then you'll eventually learn to cycle through things together as opposed to drifting apart.
So we want to hear from you. We want to know if you think that there's been anybody in your life that has maybe distanced themselves from you post-marriage because there's some kind of a jealousy involved. So leave a comment below and share your thoughts.